Make that big boss less special. It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Codename Morpheus, episode 12.
You remembered.
I did remember, and I even put it in my notes. It says episode 12 in parentheses, ha, because I knew you would check. So, moving on with the show, we'd like to start off by, first of all, congratulating the winner of our competition to win a free copy of the Solus Project, and that is a gentleman by the name of Hammer525, or Hammer525, however you want to pronounce that, who told us that we should check out Tiny Tracks.
We had a lot of essays happen.
We did. A lot of essays came out, and I think Hammer started the trend. But, yeah, he was one of the first people to respond, but he just had a really well-thought-out, well-reasoned response, which I'm actually going to read to you in a second. And we'd like to thank everyone for entering. It took a minute for people to kind of realize it was a free game on the line there, but once they did put a lot of thought into it. We had some great suggestions. We had, like, some good stuff on Super Hot Batman, a couple other things.
So read the comments down below to see which ones people said, but this is the one that won.
This is the one that won. So Hammer said, interested in trying out the Solus Project, so here's my entry. I first wanted to say Headmaster, as it's one of my personal favorites, which is personally, I'm on board with that.
Well, he says that.
Yeah, but I saw you've already given that one a go. Instead, which, by the way, props for the homework. That's not something everyone did.
Yeah.
Instead, I'll name one you haven't tried I felt was somewhat overlooked. Tiny Tracks. Well, it doesn't appear to be much from the screenshots and videos. It's really a fun world to be in, and you actually play. If you had slot cars as a kid, it might give you some nostalgic vibes as well. It's not much different from the real thing, albeit having some wild tracks that might be impossible in reality, but standing over the tracks as opposed to imagining just watching them on a TV adds a great sense of presence. The gist of the gameplay is timing your drifting skills to maneuver around corners faster and get that desired first place position, which also increases your speed for jumps. While there's only 9 tracks altogether, 3 cups with 3 courses each, I found myself returning to the game several times when I want a quick VR session late at night. Not everything in VR makes me forget I'm just playing a game, but this is one of the few exceptions where I found myself cheering my little toy vehicle on, and it's one I've demoed a couple of times to great success. I didn't buy this one at full price, $10 from a guy who hooked me up with a key.
There you go.
What's up, Gameflip? And I can't say I'd recommend doing so, but if you can grab it for $15 or under, you might find it a pleasant surprise. Keep an eye out during the upcoming anniversary sale. And actually, it was on the anniversary sale there as well. So so you were right in your prediction, too. So thanks to Hammer. He actually joined us in our Discord group. See description below if you want to join him. And we had a nice chat in there. So thanks a lot, man. And I really hope you like the game, because Solus Project is really cool. And I hope that you are interested. Let us know, by the way, like in the comments, if you have had a chance to play it yet. So, what's up? Welcome back. My name is Tom. This is Keegan, if I didn't already say that. And we're about to dig into the new releases for this week, and there's been some big ones. So let's start out with King Kong Dong of
I don't want King Kong's dong.
King Kong Dong of this week, which is GT Sport. And GT Sport finally came out. It is not a 100% VR game. It does have VR components, and the sort of the text that they put on the screen for the PSN store said supports most vehicles, all tracks in VR, but I believe it is hindered by the fact that it is only one-on-one races.
We will have some footage on our channel here shortly. We got a buddy of ours, Degrado, is recording it, I think, today as of recording.
Degrado's our racer, and he controls all of the car games, so therefore
yeah, he did
he'll be
Lightfield for us, too.
Footage. Yeah.
I was like, here, you'll like this.
That is, of course, a $60 game. You have to remember, this is a game
that is not VR as well.
Outside of VR, so it's in that Resident Evil territory.
Let's be honest. GT, Gran Turismo, for those of you who don't know what GT stands for, it's a very big franchise.
Huge for Sony. It's Sony's Forza.
Yeah.
And it's been going...
Well, it's Forza before Forza.
Since, well, yeah. It's been going since way, way back in the first PlayStation.
The last one I played was... 4? 2? 2. I played Gran Turismo 2.
I believe that was PlayStation 2.
That was the only one you couldn't get. No, that was PlayStation 1.
Was it?
That was the only one you couldn't 100% because it's like 98.7 if you 100%ed it.
Oh, weird.
So, fun fact.
Fun fact. And then there was No Heroes Allowed VR, which we've been talking about a little bit on and off. I mean, it's a weird Japanese game. It is what it is. If you like No Heroes Allowed, you'll like No Heroes Allowed VR. $30 on that one. And again, that's kind of mid-tier pricing for a game which I don't necessarily is worth that much money, but I haven't played it, so I will hold judgment until I have. And then last one, the one that I did pick up this week without even thinking about it, without even breaking a sweat, was Megaton Rainfall.
This name, every time I hear this name, it doesn't make me picture what the game is.
I like the name, though.
I do, but
it doesn't have anything to do with the game, but I just like... I mean, maybe there's like... Maybe that's something that happens in the game. Is there's a name of something that's called like
and it rains.
Oh, Megaton Rainfall. But it's only as I said, I put 16 in here. I'm pretty sure it's 15. One or the other. Maybe it's 16.
$15.99 probably.
Probably $15.99. And yeah, so I mean, it's the game where you get to be a superhero, much like Chronicle. You get to zip around the world and planets and stuff, and then you can hone all the way down into a city level where there are sort of World of the War-esque robots that are destroying the city, and you have to be a superhero and kick their ass.
Double checking here.
It reminds me quite a bit of, like I said, of Chronicle mixed with something like War of the Worlds. But my only concern so far, and I haven't played it yet, is for motion sickness, because even though my legs are strong, you move at a mighty speed.
$15.99.
There you go. Thanks. You move at a mighty speed in that game, and I can see that being, like, for first-timers, maybe a little bit jilting. It also does appear that collateral damage is a huge part of that game. So if you watch the trailer...
Not the game collateral damage.
No, yeah.
Doing collateral damage.
No, not lateral damage.
Yeah.
Collateral damage. And if you see the trailer, then obviously you can see that basically everything is destroyable, which is kind of cool. How that works in VR, how it looks in VR, how it feels in VR, remain to be seen. But guess what? That'll be probably my spotlight for next week. So I'm looking forward to that one. That being said, let's move on to the sales. Now, there is a bumper pack of sales for PSVR by proxy this week.
We missed the big sale last week.
We missed the huge sale. We were off that week. We do apologize, but you guys...
Perfect timing for us. We're like, damn it.
Yeah, you guys all got to check that out. It was the 1-year anniversary sale. Hopefully you picked up some goodies. If you did, let us know. Put it in the comments. Share it. Let us know. I spent... about $150 in that sale. I went a little bit to town on it. But yeah, I got some really good ones, so I'm excited to try out a bunch that I picked up.
I picked up Spark.
I got Spark, I got Ancient Emulator, I got Arizona Sunshine, a couple other ones.
Didn't get that.
So we'll see. But this week is the first week of the horror sale that PlayStation is having. I forget exactly what it's called. It's like Games of the Dead or something boring.
Sale of the Dead, I believe.
Sale of the Dead. But they're doing one every week, and they're chopping and changing up the titles that are involved in them, I assume throughout the majority of October, because it is the spoopy month, and much to your chagrin, it is all about horror games. So, that being said, here's what you have. Resident Evil 7, the Standard Edition, and remember, there is a Gold Edition on the way. The Standard Edition is $30, down from $60, so that's half price on that AAA title, which is absolutely undefeatedly the best VR experience, in my opinion.
Sale of the Dead is what they're calling it.
Sale of the Dead, there you go. So yeah, if you want the better version or the bigger version, the deluxe edition, then you can get that for $45, so $15 more. That's usually $90, so you do save a big chunk of change on that one too. That's a 50% off deal. Or if you just want to pick up the season pass, that is $24, down from $29. Not as impressive, but they also had the DLC on sale, the first two, which are the banned footage 1 and 2, and of course, Not a Hero, when that comes out, will be free. I don't know if the End of Zoe is going to be free or not. That was the other one that they kind of had talked about, or whether they have much more planned for it. I mean, it's taken them quite a while to get Not a Hero out, almost a whole year. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I don't know whether necessarily
it's been like 8 months because it came out earlier this year.
Yeah,
so 8 months,
almost a year. Yeah. So I mean, I would say, unless you just want to experience the main game and get it kind of out of the way, get it now. The DLC is not that expensive anyway, and the Gold Edition is, of course, around the corner. So if you can hold out longer, then do hold out, because that'll be the no pun intended gold standard. So you'll be able to get Not a Hero and all that stuff. with that. Then Paranormal Activity, which I was a fan of, which has sort of previously been noted as being kind of a high price point for this particular game. It's normally $40. It's now down to $24.80. That is a lot of these sales are dependent on whether you're a PS Plus member or not. This one does not matter. It's $24.80 regardless of whether you're PS Plus or not. No additional discounts for being a
I do like that they do that,
member.
though, because it gives me reason to have Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, I already have it because I play online.
It's only usually an extra 10% or something, but it all adds up.
It adds up in the end.
So, yeah, Paranormal Activity, $24.80 is a far fairer price for that game. It is a good experience. I had a great time with it. It is not the best game. It's not Resident Evil level. It's not even really close to Resident Evil level. But if you enjoy a good horror game in VR, then it's definitely up there in the echelons of which ones are the best. Echelons. Bloody Zombies is also down quite significantly.
That was your spotlight 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, Bloody Zombies was a really good time. I had a great amount of fun with that, sorry. And that is your side scroller. It's got the Z space, the good old Z space.
Hashtag Z space.
Yeah,
we need to make a shirt that says hashtag Z space.
And Z doesn't stand for zombies in this case.
Or come up with a cool little thing that like audio
towards you.
Hashtag Z space.
But yeah, so Bloody Zombies is on sale for $9.60, down from $15. Well worth it. Really, really good game. Thumper. This is a huge one, in my opinion. Thumper is one of the most underrated ones for.
It's good in both VR and non-VR.
It's good in both, and it's a rhythmic kind of. I don't want to say it's a racing game. It's not. It's just a rhythm-based game.
You're following the track.
It is like.
It's like if Guitar Hero meets horror.
It's hypnosis a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of, especially in VR, because when you're in VR, everything is so like fast and in your face that you start to feel a little bit of like G-force going on when you're playing it. But this is 10 down from 20. Perfect time to pick up Thumper if you haven't already. I promise you, it's a really good time in VR and outside of VR too. The music is super cool too. And then lastly, we have an interesting mixture. Weeping Doll, which did not get the highest acclaim when it first came out, and Dying Reborn, which again didn't get the highest acclaim, but people seem to like that a lot more than Weeping Doll, myself included, are both down to just $3 from 10, and you can buy the bundle. And I'm trying to figure out why this is a bundle.
Probably same publisher or developer.
Yes, but it's $6 down from 20, which is the same as if you just bought them separate anyway. So there's not really a point in bundling.
Maybe you want to buy both. I don't know.
Unless you
have to add 2 to your cart.
Unless you're just like literally like you're just too lazy to add 2 separate purchases to your cart. There's not a whole lot of reason.
Maybe mom said you can only buy one game, and if you buy a bundle, you get 2 for 1.
That's true. I don't think they're on one menu screen or anything.
No, it'll be 2 games. Just 2 games. When you check out, it's 1 game.
So yeah, Weeping Doll and Dying Reborn, or Weeping Doll and Dying Reborn, is going to be $6 or $3 each. That's your sales. So thank you for bearing with me through the new releases and the sales. It's been a pretty good week this week, I think, for those. It was pretty good. It's a decent sale.
I mean, especially coming off the massive sale that was last week. I mean, that's the thing.
Is a slow week.
Yeah, you always think it's gonna be like. And granted, some of it is like Resident Evil 7 is the big one because it's Halloween. I'm interested to see if it's only gonna be this week or if that's gonna continue.
Well, I mean, they had a lot that were VR specific for this one. I gotta think that they're gonna have a different selection for next week. I would
love Until Dawn to be on there.
Yeah,
that would be perfect.
Until Dawn, Rush of Blood, and maybe the original Until Dawn, and then although I think that might be on this week, and then and some like the Bellows maybe was a horror experience.
What
Crystal Rift,
when does Impatient come out?
Towards the end of the year, but soon.
Because I would love, I bet you they're gonna build that up.
Yeah,
to Impatient.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Like, hey, these people made this.
I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait for the Impatient. That's going to be a really good time. All right, so let's get into the news, which is your favorite part of the show, where we talk about everything that's happened. Now, this is a bit of a combination of the week before and this week. News was light for a little while.
I'm also going to yell at you when you say you're wrong, mainly on this first one here.
I'm wrong. I have. You don't know what I'm going to say about this. I do. You have a rough idea, but you don't know me.
I do know you.
All right, so
you know how pessimistic I am when it comes to this shit.
I'm just saying. This was posted up. I'm like a rumor whore, so I love rumors and stuff. And in Reddit this morning, someone noticed when they downloaded, I can't remember what game it was, but I think it was Raw Data or something, or Solus Project, something along those lines. And it's sort of a picture, and I'll put it up behind me, that shows you the navigational options that are available for a game. And underneath your typical HD video output, 720, 1080p, etc., it says PlayStation Move motion controller and PlayStation Eye camera optional. And then underneath that, it says PlayStation Move navigation controller or wireless controller optional. And then PlayStation VR and PlayStation Camera is required to play this product. So everyone's looking at it and going, what's the difference between a PlayStation Move motion controller and a PlayStation Move navigation controller?
They updated them, remember?
You think that's it?
No.
No. So
no. I just wanted to poke you.
You just want to poke holes
no,
at me.
I don't think this is probably the most definitive proof that there is some sort of something going on, and this is way more than that damn picture of the developer saying, "Hey, we got something cool from Sony and don't show anything." This is on the PlayStation Store. I'd be interested to see how quickly this gets taken down.
Showed up in a couple games apparently as well, so this is something. But the fact that they definitely separate those out. One is Move motion controller, one is Move navigation controller, and we all know the main problem with the original Move controller was no navigation. So it's pretty good. I also
love that they call it the wireless controller.
Yeah,
like wireless control, because usually they say DualShock, don't they? Unless I'm crazy.
I mean, it's whatever.
But yeah, I think this is the most definitive answer that there is something, and I think PSX. That would be the only problem I have with PSX is too close to holidays. That's the only issue I have with it. But if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do it then. Maybe they'll announce it then and say come out early next year.
We're so close though, aren't we? I think it has to be out in time for Skyrim. Well, I think that's
PSX is December 7th, 8th, and 9th, I believe. I'm not 100%.
So maybe not then.
Yeah. It's in December, I know that.
I mean, maybe they'll do it before. Maybe they'll do it in the... What's the other one? Is it Paris? Games Week? Yeah.
Sony does have a conference during that.
Maybe. So anyway, that was a bit of exciting news to wake up to this morning. Again, this is kind of rumor mill stuff. This is not necessarily proof.
Yeah, PSX is 9th and 10th.
But it's interesting that is the phrasing in the PlayStation Store right now for a couple of games, specifically ones that involve motion and move controllers like Solus Project. So yeah, really excited about that.
And Paris Games Week is November 1st through 5th. And Sony has been confirmed to have a conference there.
And Skyrim comes out after the 5th, so that might tie up nicely. So there you go.
Sony has one on the 30th.
Get hype, people. Moving on, we have a brand new trailer that just came out for Resident Evil DLC, since we were talking about Resident Evil so much. The DLC is, of course, called Not a Hero, and it's free, which we've been waiting for a little bit of a while. And it just got a new trailer simply titled Tape 2. So I will give you this, if you are watching this right now and you're like, I don't want to be spoiled in anything, stop looking at that behind me.
Maybe I haven't finished.
And maybe, especially if you haven't finished the main game, stop looking at the video, start looking at my lovely face, or
just listen to you.
Just close your eyes for a minute. If you're on audio, you're
fine.
But you know, the link is of course in the description for the full trailer, and this trailer is fucking spoiler heavy. So I'm not gonna go and talk about any of it. I will
spoiler heavy as in like the main, like the vanilla game.
So
heavy?
Both.
Obviously, you don't want to say it, but that's
spoiler for both. There's spoilers for the ending of close to the ending of the main game. There's spoilers for left behind characters from the main game. There's spoilers for exactly how the game is going to look and function, and like the actual plot of Not a Hero.
Gotcha.
Involving Chris Redfield and exactly what it is that he's doing and who he's looking for, etc. So
because I've not watched this because it's
and there's a spoiler concerning huge spoiler concerning
which is weird to put that in a trailer, but I guess they're assuming that if you're watching this trailer, you've played the game.
Right, and it's DLC, right? So you're just you're going to be like, yeah, this is super hype, let's get on board. But so I'm really, really excited for some of the things that came up during the video. If you're like, I don't give a shit about spoilers and you just want to watch it, go ahead.
If you're caught up, if you're done, there's no spoiler.
If you're done, then you're good. But they leak some rather large information that is character-based information information that is really, really cool. And plus, they show a ton of gameplay from Chris Redfield's point of view, and it looks fucking incredible. So, yeah, expect it to be the full VR experience that you're used to, just with a lot more guns and a lot more enemies and a lot more of a traditional Resident Evil feel, which is great. So really excited for that. And that comes out, as we know, in December. So Ancient Emulator is getting a second DLC. We're reigning in VR DLC lately.
Which is, so we've talked about this before, where I like that they're treating I mean, most people are mixed on DLC, but I like that they're at least treating this like a normal game, that there is DLC. Because concern would be like one and done.
Niche, right?
Yeah, concern
more like a normal game.
Yeah, concern would be one and done. Like, here's the VR game, and move on to the next one. Here's VR. I like that
these
they're building.
Studios are supporting their releases,
and they're making it
in a big way.
They're making it games of services essentially, which is the big sell, like Destiny and Elder Scrolls and all those are kind of like that. And this kind of Ancient Emulator feels perfect for that.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 7 I've not played.
Ancient Emulator, another one I picked up on the sale this week. I'm really excited about that. Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
I want to play Spark, so I'm gonna make
everyone that's played Spark fucking loves Spark.
I'm gonna tell you right now. We've talked about it, but I'm waiting for a couple more games to come out. We're gonna make a VR video on the best exercises for VR. So Hollow Ball is gonna be on there. Spark will probably be on there. Fruit Ninja will be on there.
Big time.
I'm sure there'll be other ones.
We could look at that Zoom thing.
Fucking whatchamacallit. Farpoint when I play it because I march.
It's sweaty.
Anyways, Ancient Emulator.
Here's the news. Yeah, Ancient Emulator. The guys that I'm all over the place. That put that out. But put together a little thing, and it says today is the last chance to grab Ancient Emulator on the anniversary sale. The picture below is Chiyo, a samurai girl from DLC 2. Stay tuned, and of course I will have said picture of Chiyo behind me.
Cool looking.
As we're talking.
She's got a weird cat mask.
Yeah, she's like very traditional, kind of, should be wearing half a kimono, and it's almost like one of those Japanese festival type get-ups.
I want to go to Japan at some point. Yeah. I know I bash them for their weird shit, but I want to go see them, and I want to go see it in real life.
I want to see how weird you are in person.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said I would love to go to Tokyo.
Yeah,
just because
Japan is my most wanted to visit place on Earth, and I'm really excited.
Tom, if we ever get the opportunity, and Sony's like, "Hey, we'll fly out to Japan," we're doing it.
Dude, we're big in Japan. Apparently, we could do a podcast there, have thousands of people listening. Anyway, so yes, Ancient Emulator DLC 2 on its way, confirmed by those dudes. Now, next up, we have this Microsoft unveils Holo mixed reality experience.
Halo,
sorry.
Halo.
Yeah, Halo mixed reality experience. Did you look into any of this mixed reality stuff they've been doing lately?
Yes, I did. So there's not much to it, but the big excitement here is not necessarily two things. One, Microsoft is getting in mixed reality.
They're definitely putting their cards on the table a little.
Two, it's with a franchise called Halo, and Halo is obviously one of Microsoft's biggest franchises. I think Halo 5 it's taken us four was all right. 5's kind of taken a step back, and I don't think it has the same oomph as it did back in the day.
The name doesn't ring out as much as it used to.
But it is still a big. This is one thing I've been saying Sony needs to do is get a AAA franchise and just give us a VR experience with it. Which I don't know. I can't remember if it's AR or VR specifically,
it's
but
a little bit
it's
of both,
mixed. It's mixed reality, so I'm guessing it's a little bit of both. But to me, the exciting part was the fact that this was Halo and Microsoft working on something in the virtual or augmented world is super exciting.
Link in the description below and obviously behind me. But basically, this news was included purely as a kind of here's what other people are finally doing with VR. Because we've been so PSVR heavy, we like to sometimes remind ourselves of what the other guys are doing. And this is Microsoft Halo. It's VR. It's exciting. So we'll hopefully see something cool come out of that. And then next up, we have a game called Anamorphine, which I really like that name for some reason. It sounds like an emo band. Anamorphine is an introspective journey coming to PS4 and PSVR later this year, and it's about mental health and shining lights on things like trauma, guilt, and depression. So let's dig in a little bit here. I'm going to read you from the PS blog. Samantha Cook here, co-founder and producer of Artifact 5. We're excited to announce that our first title, Anamorphine, is launching on PS4 and PSVR. In this surreal introspective adventure game, you work through mental health issues like trauma and guilt by re-exploring warping memories. Let's talk about what this looks like in-game and why it's one of the most mind-bending narrative-driven games you'll play this year. Have you ever been so sad you couldn't get out of bed, so transported by a piece of music you felt that you could never see into the heart of the composer, so guilt-ridden you never wanted to see the sun again? Of course you have. Maybe not all of those, or at least something like that. You're human, and your experience is a wide range of emotions, some minor and some paralyzingly major. Maybe, like many other humans, you have additional layers of anxiety stirring these feelings into their own unique patterns. Perhaps you suffer from depression that lurks in the background, sanding down the edges and dulling emotions you used to experience. Maybe you've experienced trauma that jumps out from around corners like the world's most sinister prankster, dragging you back to places you don't want to go. These demons all deeply affect our main character's psyche, and you'll discover how they comfort his perception of the world, contort his perception of the world as you explore his painful memories. I'm not going to go much further into that. You can actually click
on PlayStation blog.
Yeah, you can click the blog link below and kind of get a big thing.
I love that Sony does a PlayStation blog.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
It's as dumb as it is and as easy as it is. Like, Microsoft has Major Nelson, which is what people go to for that, but Sony doesn't really have, like, that face that is the community face.
Yeah.
That's what the blog is to me.
Yeah, the blog's dope. I like it. They have the drop. They highlight games that you wouldn't normally get a chance to look at. They do smaller developers a lot of times. Like Smugglecraft was on there when they're like that. To me, is the coolest part. Is they're not just doing the big. Hey, here's the big hitters you know about. Here's something you might want to look at. It's a good excuse to dig into the indies. Yeah. Yeah. So you can play the demo of Anamorphine at Indiecade on October 6th to 8th in Little Tokyo, LA. There you go. If you're in Little LA, yeah, I suppose. But yeah, it's a good one because mental health, huge thing, huge. I don't want to say issue, but huge thing that we all deal with. I think to some extent, whether it's personal or whether it's friends or whether it's family or whatever it might be. It's something that is not talked about as often as it should be, and it is a wide gamut of people experience it. And I would even throw out enough confidence to say that gamers might be more prone to it than other people, because you are purposely isolating yourself for entertainment purposes and escapism, which is already a sign that the real world kind of sucks. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, I don't like nature. I'm just going to sit here and play piano and VR or whatever. I'm going to sit here and go to fake nature. Pretend nature. How good are these graphics? So that's exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And I think if it's as mind-bending and weird as it says it is, then in VR, it's going to be a trip. Moving on, Senran Kagura gets PlayStation VR support in a new update. It's another one you got to play. Oh yeah, this is this the one that has the Super Soaker edition? Yeah. Yeah, I saw that and I was like, this is Tom. This is Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash, and it got a PlayStation VR support with a patch that they added to it. The update adds 2 modes. Wait for it. VR Character Viewer and VR Diorama. They are accessed via the locker room / shower on the beach menu. Of course they are. So players can view the character viewer from a variety of angles. Don't ask. But leaning in too close causes a message telling the player that he or she is out of the play area. This also happens. How far are we from VR porn being on PS4? I mean, there is porn on PS, but not like Sony. But you have to try hard to get it on there. So this is Peach Beach Splash. We talked about this before. We know what it is. It's a Super Soaker anime girl game, and apparently it has VR I gotta read the description because I read it the other day. But I don't think the game is in VR though. It's just another one of those stare at women awkwardly things, and they're like actual anime characters in this. They're not even like based on real women. They're just like, it's so weird. Hold on, I gotta find this because the description is beautiful in the PlayStation Store. I remember it well. Yeah. Peach Beach Splash. Peach Beach. It's got 5-star rating, Tom. It must be good. I mean, of course it does. It's $50. You ready for this? Go for it. I'm gonna butcher half of these words because they're Japanese or not English. The buxom shinobi of Senran Kagura have fought rival ninja evil masterminds and apocalyptic demons, but nothing in their lives has ever prepared them for a water gun fight? Summoned to mysterious tournament, they have no choice but to soak, splash, and steamroll their opponents. Assemble a 5-girl team from over 30 characters, choose from 10 weapons, customize your team with perks of hundreds of collectible cards, and get ready for all kinds of hot summer action. Hey. Play through 55 story levels and 4-side tournaments in single splash, or choose multi-splash for 5-on-5 competitive and 4-player co-op. Let's splash.
I just love the line that nothing in their lives has ever prepared them for a water gun fight. Like, that was like, God, this is weird.
So yeah, another random Japanese game to ogle VR girls in. If you like Dead or Alive Extreme 3, if you like Summer Lessons, then time to buy that, I suppose. I don't know how much that game is, but...
50.
Yeah,
or 40.
That.
40 or 50. I just looked.
$50 on that.
I think it's 50.
I mean, if it goes on sale, I'll do it for science. But other than that, it's
That's
not
what
happening.
he says. He actually enjoys it. You know what's really fun? Is what
out.
you don't know is when Tom's done recording those videos, you don't see what happens when the camera turns off.
There's nothing that happens. I edit them.
I want to do a video. I said this last time. I want a video of you playing with your wife next to you with the camera on her face to your reaction to what's going on.
I would make her play. There's no way I could do that.
I would love that.
All right, so moving along, PSVR is back in retail stores for people to demo
This is
during
awesome.
the holidays.
I don't know why this isn't a year-round thing. Probably price, probably cost.
So what do you want to say about it?
Go try it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm hoping, I didn't look at where it is. Last year's Best Buys and GameStops. I'm hoping it's the same thing.
I'll check for you.
And they had last time pre-launch was only select days. I'm hoping this is not select days. It's just go.
Do you think they'll have games that are not yet available, like the Skyrim demos and stuff like that? Bravo
I
team,
doubt
maybe?
it. I think they'll do existing games to make you buy the system and the game right then and there.
Best Buy and GameStop.
Yep, that's who had it last time. And that's like that was my first experience with PSVR because
I could tell you what
Oculus
games they have too.
Gran Turismo
Going to
Sport.
kick off the programs with demos of GT Sport, Final Fantasy 15 Monsters of the Deep, Super Hot VR, Dino Frontier, Raw Data, and Voltron.
Play Super Hot.
Play Super Hot.
Maybe GT Sport. We don't know about that yet. I haven't played it, but Super Hot is the one of those that where you have to play.
That's the big one.
The Final Fantasy one's not out yet, I don't believe, but it'll probably be out by the time
it will
this
be by the
goes.
time they do
But yeah,
this.
this is we always say on the show one of the hardest things is telling you about VR, what we experience, because you don't know what it is until you experience it, and then you have an idea of what you're getting into. And go do it if there's a Best Buy or GameStop near you. That's how I jumped in. That's how I got my first foray. I was screaming in the middle of Best Buy.
I kind of had this experience with my brother-in-law. So my brother-in-law and my nephew came over.
Check our Instagram.
Check our Instagram for the photo. But they came over, and my brother-in-law is a combat medic in the army. So the dude's pretty he's
sees some shit.
He's hardened, and he's been wanting to do it for a while. So when we met up, because they live in New York, and he came to St. Louis, we met up. He's like, "Dude, I have to do VR." I was like, "All right, whatever." So we set up a time, and he comes over.
We scheduled him in,
and I was like, "Okay, we're gonna break you in here the traditional way with the shark."
Yeah,
right? That's how you start everybody.
That's always how you start everybody, because it's
how
the
you start
easiest
him
one.
in. And so he got to play that, and then I made him play a little bit of Until Dawn, Rush of Blood as well, just for funsies, because it's a scary one. And we even had his nephew try the non-shark version.
How old is his nephew? Because I tried to tell from the picture, I can't tell.
Really young.
He's got a thing on his face.
Probably not supposed to have that.
Did the helmet stay on it? Because I saw his dad was holding the
just
headphones.
about.
Okay,
yeah,
so I saw his dad was holding
It was kind
them.
of like poking out from his eyes a bit, but he loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Afterwards, he was like, "That was cool."
But he didn't get attacked by a shark. He was just
I
observing.
did not. I debated it for a second, but I don't know. No, I can't do that to him.
You're like, I don't want an accident
So
down here.
no, we did the wildlife tour where he got to see some jellyfish and some stingrays and stuff. But yeah, so his dad said to me after, I was like, okay, so like out of all the footage that you watch on YouTube, you've seen our channel. He watches our channel, so I'm like, you've seen our channel. You know, like what kind of VR is supposed to look like. How does that stack up to actually doing it? And he was like, you can't explain it. It's like he was like, honestly, that is one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. Like, it's just one of those things where it's so impossible to showcase it.
Mm-hmm. You just look like a doofy person with a headset on.
You have to experience it. So the fact, there's two things I love about this. One, the fact that more people can actually do it. They can go out there and experience it.
Like I said, the price of VR is a holding point for some people, and you don't want to drop $400-$500 to get a headset that you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is a way of letting people showcase it and try it.
This is like, if you get into this and this doesn't blow your mind, then it's not for you. It's that simple.
Yeah.
Like, there are definitely
or
some
if you get
games
maybe you
that
get
are
motion
better
sick.
than others.
I mean, that's the other thing too.
Yeah, the motion sickness thing is difficult,
like our
especially
buddy
for some of the titles that are named in here. I would imagine
our buddy Nate has the PSVR, but he can't play it because it gives him migraines. Like, he's like, it sucks because I love it so much, but I can't play it because within 10 minutes I'm feeling all clammy and gross.
Whereas there's
which
idiots
sucks.
like me that can play it for 10 hours and feel
I have
nothing.
no problem.
So it's,
I'm like the 4-hour mark is when I start
4
feeling
hour?
it. Yeah, it depends on the game.
Resident
obviously.
Evil changed me as a man when it came.
My balls
to 10
dropped that
hours of
day.
that. Yeah, that changed me.
When I tell people you finish Resident Evil in VR, I get like people that I play games with are like, no way. So our buddy Bertrand, who I've been playing with on Destiny, has been looking to pick one up, and he's been asking my opinion because he knows he actually started listening to our show, but he knows that we run this show, and he kind of has asked me about it, and I was like, look, if you're ever in St. Louis, I know you can try it if you want to, or honestly pick it up. I think it's worth it.
Uncle Tom's touchy basement.
Well, I've got one too.
That's true.
So he can come to Uncle Keegan's touchy apartment.
Yeah,
but no,
it's cool though. They're doing that.
We don't just recommend it on the show. When our friends ask us, we give honest opinions. Like, and I think the question later on will kind of touch this a little bit, but I will tell people what I think honestly of VR. I think it's a good first generation, but I think there's room for improvement like anything else. But when you, like we've been saying from the day one, when you play it, you're completely blown away the first time. I feel like I've come a little jaded just because I know what to expect.
It's hilarious that we're at that point now where we're already a little bit jaded and we're just kind of like, now we just want better experiences. Yes. But
versus when you see somebody for the first time trying it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that moment.
Yeah, I remember the first time I realized that this was possible.
Yeah.
But the second good part about this is that it is once again Sony showing support for the system, and to Sony saying, hey, we really love this thing and we want to sell a ton more of them to you. We have the units in stock now, and we'd love to show it to you, because they've been upping the advert rate again. There's been a lot more PSVR adverts available.
There's units that are finally or that are built. The supply issues.
The supply issue's gone away, and we're ramping up to the holidays. And let's be honest, there hasn't been a console release in a little while, so a lot of people, like a lot of kids that like normally ask for a console of some kind, if they're not trying to get the Switch this year, then PSVR is a really viable thing.
And they just did the tweak to it.
Yeah,
the newer
version,
the SKU. So that to me, again, not that people cared about that if you're looking to, but that future-proofs it. So if somebody says, hey, maybe it's dad wants to play it as well as the son. And dad's like, hey, maybe he's somewhat techy. He's like, I have an HDR TV. Don't know what that means, but that means he'll get the full benefit even when he doesn't have the headset on.
True that.
So.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool news to throw in. That was actually from like that was one I had scheduled for the week before, but I thought it was definitely worth bringing up. Moving along, this is really exciting news that came from you to me, and then I got all giddy like a schoolgirl because I love this game, and that is that Windlands is getting a sequel.
Can I announce the press release? Because this came to our email.
Go ahead.
This was directly at us, and I got to follow up afterwards, but. Hello, everyone. We are excited to announce Windlands 2. SciTech Games has been hard at work to bring the next chapter of VR's most beloved indie titles. The overview. Prepare to embark on an epic adventure alone or form a team with up to 3 friends in the latest installment of Windlands. Explore the world's secrets, engage in adrenaline-fueled combat, and defeat ruthless adversaries to bring peace to the worlds of the Windlands once more. Single-player up to 4-player co-op adventures. Soar alone or form a team and work together to embark on an incredible journey to save your home. Brand new bow ability. Soar through the air with the iconic grappling hooks. Engage in combat with the new bow mechanic. Combine all of your skills to adapt to the challenges lying ahead. Extended cast of characters. Explore villages and structures inhabited by a variety of NPCs to deliver side quests and helpful hints.
Wow.
So after that happened, so that was the thing that came out. And I then had a follow-up with them. We have a PR rep that I reached out to after they announced it because they didn't say platforms. And I asked them, so my email to them is, let me pull it up here. It says, hey, just watched the reveal trailer for Windlands 2. I'm excited about the game. Love the first one. Kind of made me a little queasy. But I was wondering if you can confirm what platforms it'll be on. Specifically, will it be on PSVR? Because that's what we care about here. And the dude responds back, hey, Keegan, super happy you enjoyed the trailer. Windlands 2 is coming 2018, and we are planning to bring it to both HTC and PSVR. No Oculus. That's a note there. No additional information at this time.
Interesting.
So I wanted to clarify that. I'm glad they got back to us. So thank you, Luke from SciTech, for getting back to me to let me know that it is indeed coming to PSVR. Because if you remember, Windlands came out on. I'm interested to see if it comes out at the same time.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see if it's going to come out on PC first and then PSVR or if it's going to come out at the same time.
I feel like it did better on PSVR because there was such a hunger for games at that point that it was just like it was heads and shoulders above a lot of
the only
other
issue I had with the game, as you know, is I had the glitch where I got stuck in the tree and I was like, whoop.
Yeah, Windlands, there's
It's
a
one
lot
you have
of
to build your legs
interesting
up.
announcements in that as well. The fact that they're talking about online co-op,
Multiplayer.
they're talking about like actual combat, like
New
arrows and
bows.
shit.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to pull up the press release because I knew there was information in
Windlands is, if you haven't tried the original version, it is on our highly recommended list. Windlands is basically, it's not for the weak of stomach. It is the closest you'll get to a Spider-Man VR game that actually makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And I'm including Spider-Man Homecoming in that.
The grappling hook is awesome.
Yeah, the grappling
but it does fuck with your stomach.
The inertia level is real in that game. Like if you're the type of guy that played until dawn and then when that first that first drop happens on the roller coaster and you felt your stomach drop, Windlands will fuck you up. Like it will really mess with you because it does give you such an incredible feeling of inertia. But that's exhilarating too because you're like swinging around in a fucking grappling hook.
I kind of want to go back and play Windlands again now that I played more VR. I mean, granted, I've been outside of VR for a little bit, but just to see, like I said, the only reason I got woozy, there's two reasons. One, like I said, I had the glitch where I got stuck in a tree, and that just kind of, it's like ingrained in your brain of like that fucking sucked. It's kind of like when I flipped in what was that game?
Tiny Tracks.
There's the other one. The other racing game.
Turbo Mania.
Turbo Track Mania? Turbo Mania?
Like that,
when I flipped in that, I was like, ooh, I need to avoid that. But the game was fun. It was interesting, and I remember playing it, and the grappling hook mechanic was, at that time, I don't think they supported Move. Now they do.
Yeah.
So I would want to go back and play with Move, and I want to go back now that I have VR legs and kind of try it out. And they're really good with the settings on
maybe those Move
motion.
navigation controllers. That'd be good.
Maybe.
Easier to move around.
We'll see.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was great though, and it was one of those games where like the first time you like hook onto something and then swing off a ledge, you're like, holy
I think when we
like,
first played it, we felt like we said that this is the first VR experience that felt like a true game.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, that's their statement of it. And it was a lot of fun. It was. I mean, it's not for everybody. It's an exploration game, but.
Really cool game.
I enjoyed it, minus the whole getting sick.
Fucked me up big time after I played it, but I'm bigger and better and stronger now, so I feel like I can handle
Kanye
it.
West?
Yeah, stronger, faster, whatever. Daft Punk, let's not say Kanye West. So, Fishing Master snuck up on us. Have you played the demo for that yet?
No. I'm too busy playing that other fishing game that came out.
Fishing World?
Maybe.
So Fishing Master actually is now scheduled for a PSVR release. And if you haven't noticed, there's a free demo that just kind of showed up out of nowhere with no fanfare in the store. It is 100% free and worth checking out.
It's coming out next week.
Yeah, coming out real soon. We've been asking for a good fishing game for a while. We played Dream Angler. You picked that up from Hong Kong, and that was not the best fishing game. This one is more of an actual fishing game. Like it looks like what you want out of a fishing game. Really excited to check that out. I just thought I'd throw that in there.
It looks like San Francisco because that looks like
the Golden Gate Bridge, indeed. So yeah, you can catch some sharks maybe.
I don't know if I want to do that.
Off the Bay Area. I know they are in there.
Yeah.
Hence the giant fucking shark picture on the logo.
PlayStation.
But yeah, so that's really cool. Really excited about that. Oculus launching a new low-cost all-in-one headset next year. Do you know anything about this?
Talk about this for a second?
That's kind of the plan.
So
that's what we do on a podcast.
It's true. So this has me very intrigued.
Okay.
For two reasons. You know, back a couple episodes ago where I said VR needs to not be connected to a box. You just plug it in and go. This does not have a phone. This does not have a CPU you plug into. It is all in one. I'm interested to kind of see the quality of it when it comes to visuals, like how compared to the Gear and where it is compared to PSVR, Oculus, and Vive. Or I guess technically the Rift and Vive, because Oculus is the brand, Rift is the headset. And see how it falls compared to that. If it is above the Gear and similar or slightly below PSVR, I think it'll get a lot more people because the price point into it. The reason being is this is what I think VR needs to get it to the masses.
I have a price point. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Isn't it $199?
$199.
Yeah. That's half the price of PSVR.
That's really, really cheap.
So that's
for a VR,
and again, that doesn't. You don't need to buy a console to go with it. You don't need to buy another computer. It's everything with it. I'm just interested to see the experiences, and it looks real doofy, by the way.
And crucially, won't require a separate PC or mobile device to function, as you said. Really, really interesting.
So I'm intrigued by this. I think this will be the thing that kind of pushes VR forward, and it's interesting because Oculus, as we know, for the Rift, has been in last place.
They've been behind closed doors, haven't they? They've been. We assume that they're doing something. We just haven't really had like much news out of that camp, apart from them apart from Parma Lucky trying to plug it into people's heads.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting to actually get an announcement from Mark Zuckerberg along the lines of what they plan.
Yeah, and remember that this is also connected to Facebook, so who knows what that means for Facebook? But this is like
Facebook
I
headset.
said, this is the thing that makes it go to the masses potentially. Tipping point.
Reading from the news of the piece, Oculus will launch a new low-cost standalone VR headset early next year, so it's not even too far away. Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced at today's Oculus Connect event in San Jose. Oculus Go is the new super lightweight headset, is designed to be as affordable and accessible as possible, positioned somewhere between the Oculus Rift and the Gear VR. The Oculus Go will cost $199, likely around $199 at the Rift's UK price conversion is any indication, but and crucially won't require a separate PC or mobile device to function. Oculus says it will include a fast switch LCD display with a 2560 by 1440 resolution designed to increase visual clarity
2560 by 1440.
Thank you. And reduce screen door effect. Integrated audio and next-gen lenses offer a wide field of view with significantly reduced glare. Elsewhere during the show, Zuckerberg announced that the Oculus Rift will be getting a permanent price reduction, with the Rift and Touch controller bundle dropping from $499 to $399, which competes with, as we know, PSVR. In actuality, this keeps the Rift at the same price it's been throughout the Oculus Summer of Rift promotion. As such, the bundle's new permanent price should be $399.
So all the major headsets got a price drop other than PSVR. Well, PSVR got a $50. Well, it didn't get a price drop. It got stuff. It got the camera added in.
You got an update.
You got the camera added in.
Yeah, and now the camera's like just a thing. Yeah. So that's kind of interesting news on the VR landscape. It's about time the Rift has had something happen.
Well, I mean,
with it,
I said, VR in general, which is what a lot of this. I mean, we focus a lot on PSVR, but we want VR as a whole to be healthy because that's what makes it move along.
And without having to use mobile or PC, I'm just trying to figure out what the UI looks like there. You know,
it's gonna use Oculus. The Rift UI, I'm guessing.
Just
look around, stay there. It's
maybe
gonna load
its own little digital store and everything.
The question I have is control. That's the only issue I have with this is how am I going to control it? Like, I could see like in a menu, you move your head. Like again, it's the headmaster where just you look at it and it's going to load and go in. But when you're inside the experience, if you don't have a controller. Or can you connect a controller to it?
I'm assuming there'll be something along those lines.
Because I think they want to be careful to not price people out of VR. I think this is more of the casual VR, but it's more of getting people, again, the masses into VR to then this is what it is to maybe then convert
the question
them to
really lies
headset.
on how good a quality experience can you deliver on a headset at that price.
Yes.
So that remains to be seen, but we will see.
I would love to see like vacation VR. Like, I could see that being a really good thing where they come in and say, hey, here's a travel experience. Let's go to Rome and sit in the Colosseum. Or I've always been a history guy, so let's go back to the gladiator fights in Rome and watch one.
I'm still torn on the 360 video thing. I don't think they've ever successfully pulled it off with a fidelity that I would be happy with.
I love Fort Minor's 360 video. It's pretty good. Yeah. You should watch that if you haven't watched that in PSVR, you should watch that. Okay. It's probably the best one.
So, next up, Fate Grand Order will be a free release in Japan on December 6th. Fate Grand Order, very popular series in Japan, and they're getting a free VR, which whenever I think free, I think, like, not bad, but, like, short experience, specifically for the Japanese audience. Now, whether this gets a North American release or not is yet to be seen, but as you know, if you watch our show, you don't have to be in Japan.
Games are region free.
They are region free. You just need the account. How do you make the account? go check our playlists. And then moving swiftly on from that, another favorite for the Japanese audience, Demo. Demo Reborn is the new name, is coming to PSVR. Demo was a weird game where you played basically the piano. It was a piano game where you had this weird, like, shadowy character that you... It was very bizarre to explain. Just watch the footage and you'll kind of get an idea of what's going on. But yeah, very, very cutesy Japanese game. Again, just announced at time of recording this morning that Demo Reborn is coming to PSVR and PS4. So I think it's going to be a little bit of both. But you know, any VR game where you play the piano has got to be somewhat exciting. Alvo VR is an online FPS coming to PSVR. So this is the section, in case you haven't noticed yet, where we just rip through some interesting new titles. Alvo VR Online is coming, and Alvo VR is, as far as I can tell, the first attempt, well, not the first, but the first attempt at doing like a smooth controller motion online FPS. So the first attempt at doing like
online is going to be
Call of Duty VR, basically. You know, you look at Bravo Team and things like that, and they're all sort of teleport based, and you know, Farpoint is definitely there, but that's the narrative adventures. So this is the first attempt at them trying to do something more in line with like an online version of Counter-Strike or Call of Duty or whatever it might be. So check out the trailer for that. And then the last bit of sort of big news before we get onto the ender of the news is that Gollum finally has a launch time frame.
I'll believe it when I see it.
That is early 2018. Still not the best. You know, early 2018 is not a number.
This game looks amazing, and it's from former developers of Halo. So I've had my eye on this game since they've announced it. I've been watching it. Went quiet. They pushed back. Didn't say anything. And then
it's been a weird secret for a long time
because it looks so good. But I'm getting, the more and more it kind of stays quiet and gets pushed back, the more and more I'm concerned. I'm hoping that they bomb drop this at PSX and say, hey, here's a vertical slice of what's happening.
Yeah.
Because this game, like I said, it looks good, and this is one of the reasons I want to get PSVR was for this game. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't know how I feel about this now. It's in that weird, like,
it's been in limbo for a while.
Yeah.
And the other thing to remember is that Gollum is a PSVR exclusive.
Yes.
So this is one of the first titles I can think of that is purely PSVR, and it's not going anywhere near the other VR
what was
headsets.
Batman? Or did Batman end up... I think Batman might have made the transition
It
too.
may have been. I don't remember. But Gollum was like... That was kind of one of the... Like, this is a reason why you should buy our headset instead of a Vive or whatever that might be for this experience. And then, of course, it fell off the radar somewhat. So that has been pulled up in a list of 60 titles Sony recently confirmed would be releasing over the next few months and over the next year. We talked a little bit about how, like, they released the soundtrack, which is a little bit bizarre.
I just want a roadmap.
Huh?
I said I just want the roadmap.
Yeah, well, we're getting to the roadmap, don't worry. But yeah, so there's a bunch of other stuff that was confirmed, which we're actually going to get into now because this is the last bit of news that we have. But I just wanted you guys to know Gollum is alive and well and coming out and still exclusive.
Well, it's alive.
And
we don't know how well it is
allegedly doing well from all the people that have talked about it. So, what did they get that information from for Gollum? They got it from a list from PlayStation themselves. That is all 60-plus games coming to PlayStation VR through to early 2018.
I like how they can't say specific numbers, just 60-plus.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever, isn't it? So obviously we have the big ones, right? So we have the ones coming in 2017. And yes, we're going to list these out, so buckle in, boys and girls.
The first one requires a PS Plus membership.
That is true.
That's new information.
And that is Bravo Team. Supermassive Games is creating an intense first-person shooter for single-player or online two-player co-op. Active PS Plus membership is required,
for the online
makes
co-op.
sense because it's online.
Yeah.
The setting is in a fictional Eastern European city, and after the president is assassinated, teamwork will be essential for you to survive. Bravo Team will make you feel like you're in an action movie. Doom VFR, you already know all about that guy.
Yep.
And then Gran Turismo Sport got its release today. Megaton got its release today. Moss, which is one of the more bigger and beautiful looking ones there. You'll know about Moss, the little mouse that's in that game. No Heroes Allowed came out today, so that's knocked off the list. Abduction. Now, Abduction is already out, but those fuckers still haven't released the VR patch, and I'm mad about it. I just wanted to get that off my chest real quick. Because I bought that because I thought it had VR from the get-go, and I was severely disappointed. Pixel Junk VR, Dead Hungry. Good to see Pixel Junk making VR games. Pixel Junk are prolific in the amount of games that they make. But yeah, Dead Hungry, again, it's just a gallery shooter type thing, except you're throwing food instead of bullets. But interesting, again, it's out before the end of the year. Stifled is that unique horror game where you can only reveal your surroundings by creating sound waves, either by throwing nearby objects or speaking into the headset's built-in mic. Keep in mind, however, that any noise you make may also reveal your location to the grotesque creatures that are lurking in the darkness. So that looks like a really cool horror game. Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, obviously, we're all waiting on that guy. The Inpatient, and the rest of the 2017 titles are listed.
And go.
Anamorphine, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Ark Park, which is from the Ark game. It's a break-off version. Brain Voyagers, not heard of. Chernobyl, which has already released. Cool Paint VR, which is a December release. CubeWorks, which I am unfamiliar with. Discovery, Dragon Blast VR, Dream Angling, which is out in Hong Kong but not over here yet. Drunken Bar Fight, which sounds particularly interesting. DW VR and N-Space, and Everest VR and Fishing Master, which will all be out by the end of next week, although 3 of those already are. Flatline, Experience the Other Side, which I'm assuming is a tie-in to the movie Flatliners, which is a remake of an old ladies movie called Flatliners, where people just killed themselves to experience the afterlife and then got brought back to life. Ghosts in the Toy Box, which sounds interesting. Hex Tunnel, Honor and Duty, Hop Along the Badlands, Justice League VR, Light Tracer, Monster of the Deep, Final Fantasy 15, Nothing But Net, Prana, that's not Piranha, that's Prana, Prana, Quar Infernal Machines, Radial G Racing Evolved, which is out, Radiant VR, Rec Room, which we're really excited about, that we should be getting beta for that, actually. I talked to those guys. Cool. Run Dorothy Run, which just sounds awesome. Sculptor VR, which I'm assuming is along the similar lines of Cool Painter. Serious Soccer.
Serious Soccer.
Down for that. Shooty Fruity, your favorite. Snow Fortress, Star Drone VR, Super Amaze Balls.
I want that one.
The Rabbit Hole, the Solus Project, which is already out, Virtual Engagement Confronting Fears, which sounds like a Japanese game, Virtua Go, and VR Apocalypse for the rest of 2017.
2017. 2018, Tom, what do we got?
2018, we have Gollum, top of the list. The American Dream, which is that one where you basically just... you go about day-to-day life shooting everything. Torn. Let's talk about Torn.
Torn sounds interesting.
Torn, a mystery inspired by such classics as The Twilight Zone, is set in the Vermont forest where you discover a house full of secrets. What you find in there are numerous experiments, inventions, gear, and documentation that reveal a lot about the doctor who lived there. However, they're also remnants of a man who's been missing for 64 years. And then Zing, The Land Beyond, which is a beautiful looking game. Right out of the gate, this first-person puzzle adventure title tells you that you're dead. Guess you're off to a bad start, right? From there, you go at your own pace in an entertaining trek through the afterlife with the story revealed mostly through poetry. It promises to be a unique game suitable for new and veteran VR adventurers alike.
Sounds like something I would like.
It's a walkathon.
Well, puzzle walkathon.
Puzzly walkathon. And here's your list for the remainder of early 2018. Remember, this is just early. Alvo, which we talked about earlier today. Ariel, Plasters of the Universe. Chainman, Cold Iron. Dead Secret. Dragonflight VR. Drone Fighters. Dungeon Chess. End of the Beginning. Knockout League. Penn and Teller VR. Frankly Unfair, Unkind, Unnecessary, and Underhandled, including...
oh my god.
Including...
Desert Bus.
Desert Bus.
Those of you who don't know what Desert Bus is, it is a game that I think you drive from somewhere to Vegas and it's real time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and Pixel Ripped 1989. So Desert Bus in VR would be fucking great. I can't wait for that. So those are all of the games.
We're gonna do your 24-hour live stream. I've decided you're playing Desert Bus if it's VR.
Oh my god.
That's what you're doing.
I will.
You will fall asleep. Literally, you will fall asleep
at the wheel and kill my passengers. I'll think about it.
Well, do you know that they also have it to where because the bus drifts automatically to one side, so you couldn't just rubber band it and go.
Yeah, I know. Oh man. So that's your news segment for episode 12 of Codename Morpheus. Hi, we're Codename Morpheus. Remember us?
We're actually Level 2 gamers. This is Codename
Morpheus. That's true. We're doing Codename Morpheus. But so hopefully a lot of fun news in there for you. There was a lot of good stuff in there.
My favorite part, let's be honest, Windlands, and then the 60 games coming. Because like I said earlier, having a roadmap is what I want. That's literally all I want. Tell me what's coming.
Best roadmap we've had in a while.
Some of it I might like. Some of it I think is dumb.
I love the fact as well that like there's a lot of those games that are just names. Like we don't know anything about them. So that's exciting.
Which I kind of have an issue with because that doesn't
But it's like a puzzle. It's like, is it good? Is it bad?
Yeah, but I'd rather have more good than bad. If they're good, they're showing them.
Obviously, I'd like it to be more good than bad. I'm just saying that, like, just knowing that there's a bunch of stuff there that we've never heard of that's in development, that's on its way, makes me smile because it means that, you know, regardless of how great or not great it is, that's pretty sweet. So moving on to the spotlight for this week, I have a game I want to talk about, and that game is called The Invisible Hours. What do you know about this game before I rant on it?
I know absolutely nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
You're in for a treat. So, The Invisible Hours was a game that I picked up on a whim. I'd watched the trailer. I kind of had a vague idea of what it was. It looked like a murder mystery, but I had no idea past that exactly how you play that game. So, I just picked it up. I threw $30 down and said, "I'll take it. I'll go for it." It's it says it's a.
Oh, I think this is the one. I know what this is.
Okay. So here's how it works. You are
about to play some audio.
You're not allowed to play with the computer when we're recording. So here's how it works. Basically, there is a murder mystery unveiling before your eyes. You basically play some kind of a ghost entity. You're not a character. You're just literally like an orb of invisibleness that
just walking around.
That not even walk. You kind of float around. But yeah, you control not only your movements and locations within the environment, but also time. So you can use teleportation to teleport to different areas. You can just use the move controllers and move that way. You also have the ability to freeze time, rewind time, fast forward time, and interact with certain things.
Fucking go to their website. If the game's half as good as their website, they've got this thing nailed.
Yeah, right?
Like, this website's
Doesn't
awesome.
it look like Clue?
Yeah.
So here's the deal. You have this house with this mansion that actually belongs to someone you may know, Nikola Tesla, who is a very famous inventor. Dude liked electricity a lot. And you go to this house or follow this man that arrives on an island. His name is Gustav, because, why not? And you're following him as he discovers very, very promptly that Nikola Tesla has bit the dust.
Thomas Edison's in here too.
Oh yeah, that's what I like. They mix in actual like historical figures. I don't know if everyone is legitimately historical figure, but it's nice that they do have some of them.
This website's really well. Seriously, go to their website.
Their website's great.
Website's really well done.
Apparently, it's really well done. Yeah. So here's the situation. You show up on this. You follow Gustav on his island. He meets a girl that's crying that said that Nikola Tesla would not allow her into his party, and she,
what an asshole.
Yeah, I know, right? What a dick. And he's like, I'm sure there's a reason for it. Let's go inside and let's kind of see what's going on. So you go up to the front steps of the mansion, and there you discover one dead Nikola Tesla, face down, blunt force trauma to the back of his head, weapons on the floor, guns on the floor, and that's where things get weird. So from that point on, you are basically observing a play, a theater play, or a movie even, but it feels more like a play. Of a murder mystery, but you can go anywhere at any angle. You can pick things up, like there's papers and things you can pick up. If someone has an object, you can freeze time, grab the object, observe it, and that adds it kind of to your like, these are things that I know now about this case. And your goal essentially is to play through, I think it's 4 chapters. It might be less, might be more.
Could be less. Could be more.
I'm pretty sure it's 4, but I'm not positive. Play through basically different chapters of this tale and kind of try and be the eyes and ears of every single thing that's going on at the same time. Like choosing where to be, why to be there, what conversations you're going to miss, what you're going to hear. The game will play out to the end of the chapter, and then once the chapter's done, it'll be like, okay, here's everywhere that you were at during that playthrough. Here's like where you missed people or where you didn't see people. Would you like to jump in at a certain time point and then go to a different character or follow a different character? And you have to kind of try and like trace through each of the characters' steps to find them in mid-conversation with people, and sometimes things happen over a very short period of time. Like someone can poison a drink within like a 5-second bit that you, if you weren't paying attention, would miss. You can have like chance meetings in hallways that if you miss it, then you miss a whole subplot of information. Some of my standout moments were basically catching a guy that was pissed drunk and about to kill himself and then getting talked out of it, catching a girl that literally removed the nose from her face. Ugh. And like I like got up real close froze time. I was like, this bitch has no nose. But she just has like straight up no nose, and then she like puts some makeup on it and stuff, puts it back on, and then starts like laughing manically. And also and I mentioned this in my review of it, but near the beginning when the body's on the floor, you can see this guy kind of peek around a door and then peek back again. And if you weren't looking, you would have missed it. So you jump over there and then see this guy there, and then you can like follow him backwards in time and see what led up to him like listening in on the conversation. What was he saying? Was he talking to himself? Was he talking to someone else? So that's the game. Basically, you're in this kind of Agatha Christie style story. It's very similar to And Then There Were None. And you have to follow these individuals around the area and try and determine what happened. So really unique use of VR. Really unique use of a game. Or style of a game.
Really go check out their website. They have like behind the scenes stuff that I've been watching.
The mocap stuff is like, great, yeah.
How intimidating would it be to play Tesla or Edison in a game?
Right. So it's I mean it's.
But this sounds really cool. Like the more you're talking about, like very rarely when you talk about it, because we have so different tastes in games. Like this is one I was like, I need to go actually look at it.
I think
do you know how much it is?
It's $30.
Okay.
But I have it, so you're welcome to play it when I'm not on the machine. But yeah, it's really unique little idea. There you can sink into it, but the nice part about it is it's kind of relaxing too. It's like there is obviously pressure that you have to uncover things, but no one's forcing you to. You can take your time, you can redo it, you can go and follow different things and try and kind of discern where these partnerships are being formed. Who knows who and how do they know them, and how did Mr. Tesla end up?
Would you say it's kind of like Hitman in VR, like style wise, without having without having to assassinate somebody?
A little bit.
Like without the Hitman part, Hitman.
Yeah, without the actual. It's like if you were trying to find Agent 47 in VR. Yeah, I could see that. But the tale is, the dialogue is perfect. Like they played a lot of attention to the setting of the era and that kind of stuff.
What do you think? So the one thing I can see from like screenshots and the video I've been watching is the art is a bit like it's not realistic looking, so it's a bit clunky. But does it break your immersion at all, or is you like, this is the art style?
The immersion level is not there already. Well, it's a little bit there, but because you're a flying entity that can basically go places, rewind time, fast forward, you never really feel like you're in the scene per se. So it's okay that it has a slight interesting feel to the art
style too.
Yeah, interesting art style. And it is interesting. The graphics are nothing to write home about. They're not bad by any means, but like the voice animation is a little clunky. Like some of the regular animations are a little clunky. They got a butler that is blind, and he kind of shuffles around the room like in a very weird way instead of using a cane or whatever it might be. And some of the animations.
Maybe they didn't have canes back then.
I mean, maybe.
Shout out to blind people in video games, though. Accessibility.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it turns out, there's plot twists that I won't say.
Fine.
But yeah, it's nice nod. But also the fact that you use the move controllers to control every aspect of your movement. So there's I think you can play with a DualShock, but you don't need to. And the way they look in game, they're kind of represented as these kind of steampunk tools. So like Nikola Tesla made you a pair of moves and was like, here's how you control time and manipulate stuff. Like they're really cool looking, and they continuously always have the buttons on them. So you know what you're doing. So you can look up and be like, okay, that's fast forward or whatever it might be. But of course, you're usually holding them low enough that they don't break immersion as far as that's concerned.
But you can bring them up if you need to.
But you can bring them up and take a look and read it. The actual text, the reading of the text is very sharp. A lot of VR games don't get that right, and it's kind of fuzzy and it's hard to read. But yeah,
is it a floating text? Like if you move your head, does it move with you, or is it static?
No, you pick things. Well, if with the moves, it's stuck to the move. But if you like pick up a document, then you can manipulate it with the move. But you mostly just have to turn it so that you can read it.
Okay.
Flat. Yeah.
So it's not like subtitle text. It's object.
Oh
text.
yeah, you have to read the object.
Okay.
Correct.
Cool.
So yeah, the Invisible Hours, man. I mean, it was a little pricey off the get-go, but the experience is absolutely worth the price. I think
You love those type of games, though.
I do like the Sherlock Holmes and the Agatha Christies of the world.
Because he's British.
It might be. But it's so unique. It's such a unique experience, especially in VR. It's not something that you get to see every day. If you are a fan of games that are either story-driven games like Until Dawn or those types of things, or Sherlock, solve a puzzle type thing, then you'll be in with a good time with this game. Yeah, definitely worth checking out, I would say. So if I can get you excited about it, I can get anyone excited about it.
That's not true.
My review is, of course, up on the channel. Feel free to check it out. I had lots of nice things to say. So that was your Spotlight, Invisible Hours. Go peep it. And now the last part of the show, for those of you that are still with us, if you're still with us, thank you, is...
If you're not with us, you didn't hear us.
If you're not with us, then it doesn't matter. In what ways have your opinions of VR changed since last year when it launched?
It was a year ago it launched.
Yeah.
You asking me now? Am I going first?
Yeah.
So, if anybody who's listened to us for a little while now knows I'm not as hyped about VR as I was. I've gotten past, I'm going to call it the honeymoon phase of like, holy shit, this is cool looking, this is a lot of fun. We said it earlier where we I want good experiences. I'm now harder on VR because I want it to be to a certain standard, and I feel like a lot of the times it's not meeting that standard. But every time I play a VR game that I love, I get lost, like Star Trek, Werewolves. I'm currently playing Light Tracer. It's a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, but at the same time, it's like, to me, there's too much junk out there, and it's hard to get to the good games beyond the junk, and that's why
we're here.
That's partially why the show exists, but it shouldn't be like that considering VR is such a new platform, and there's so few games comparatively to like PS4 or Xbox that...
Kind of like we said with the Switch, though, like... It's a starving platform. So at this point, even if some of the indie games aren't 100%, like they're not like Invisible Hours budget, right? They're like way less, like the Dead Hungry game or whatever.
But
like,
if
it's still something.
But if it's I disagree with that. I think it has to be good, because if you release, so let's look at the example of the Wii. The Wii sold really well, but it had a bunch of shovelware, and it's known for its shovelware. I don't want PSVR to become a shovelware platform of like, let's just make money off of this, which I don't think people are.
I don't think it could, because the reason why the Wii had that was because it was so fucking easy to make a game for the Wii.
What I'm saying with VR though is it feels like the games that are out now are a lower quality than what I expect out of a video game for the most part. There are games like you said, Resident Evil. I've not played it, but I'm taking your word on it. It's great. Dirt Rally is great. Farpoint is great. Like, there are experiences, Job Simulator, Star Trek, I can go on and on, that are great experiences. I just feel like the gap between the great ones and the bad ones are so big, and that a lot of the times when people ask about it, and they'll bring up a game saying, hey, I heard about this, or I hear there's not a lot of good things going on in VR, and it's hard for me to answer saying there are good games and there's good experiences, but to me the mass majority of VR games right now are in that bottom half, and it sucks because to sell a unit you have to show that it's going to be good and it's going to have a future. And my opinion on PSVR right now is, again, I love the platform, I enjoy the great experiences, but I think there's too much garbage going on, and I think it's a Sony thing in general. At the bottom of the rung there, that when people go to buy it, they see so much garbage, and maybe they don't know about Dying Reborn, and they're like, oh, it's cheap, I'll pick it up. And that might be their first or second experience in VR, and they go, this sucks, I'm not going to pick up anything else. That's my concern with it. So I'm enjoying it. I still have a lot of fun, but I'm also one of those people that get in and kind of know what I'm getting into.
I think there's a lot of people, though, that on the flip side of the coin, like they know by asking or by seeing trailers or by having favorite franchises, they know what the good stuff is, and they can also comprehend the difference between that and $10 title. So when you go onto the PSN store on a Tuesday, and like this Tuesday, right, you have GT Sport came out and all those guys. You know, when you look at GT Sport or FIFA 18 or Shadows of War, whatever, that is a full-on let's do it experience. But then you may look at, you know, whatever other garbage comes out that's like $5, $6, $10, and some of that stuff's okay. But again, it's a similar principle of the same rules work in both. So they should know that VR has its good and its bad and it's mid-tier. I mean, Invisible Hours is a perfect example of mid-tier because that's essentially a AA.
Yeah.
That's like, there's enough going on in that game to have it be considered up there as one of the better experiences on the platform. The issue right now with me more so is people just like not knowing how to price their own games. VR carts, fuck out of here. They changed the price of that, by the way.
They?
Yeah, they knocked it down to 20. But like they put that out at, what was it, $50 or something like that? Like, no, man, like you can't do that. Play your game. I know you have a love for it
and you put
for creating
invested,
it. But there's definitely, like, the VR market hasn't figured out pricing well enough yet, and I think that,
and a lot of the times when we praise a game, it's because they're priced right.
Right, and yeah, I mean, I will give a game bonus points for being the right price for sure. I'm less inclined to shit on you if your game is, like, even with like Always Sometimes Monsters that we talked about in the indie podcast, like everything I wanted to hate about that game, I had to keep coming back to the fact that it's $10, and like it could just be me not getting it, it could just be not my thing. So I understand the concern for shovelware because there is a lot of it out there,
especially when there's not much going on the platform to begin with. That's where when it's the critical mass of, in my opinion, again, I have no stats to back this up, but from my gut feeling is there's more of that shovelware, so it's harder to dig to what you want to get.
So what about that list of 60 games where a lot of them were not shovelware? A lot of them were...
Well, I mean, I'll pull back.
I mean, there was a bunch that were on there. Yes, there's a bunch of
shovelware. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the issue is here's 60 games, but how many of those games do you actually care about, or do you think people will care about?
But then if you look at any week release, compare the games that are known good quality, worth buying, versus how many games are just games. Go to the drop, right? And the drop will have like one.
Oh, this is not just a VR thing; it's a gaming issue in general.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm not saying it's VR only, but it is an issue.
It would be helpful for VR if it weren't quite that like outmatched, but there's a lot of good in there to outweigh the bad more so.
I'm just, again, my concern is somebody getting in. So again, I'm thinking, especially holiday season coming up, Sony's putting money behind, people are buying it. You're going to get that one big game probably, because the way I used to get video games is I'd get maybe 1 to 2 games at Christmas, and then I'd wait for my birthday, which is in March, get maybe 1 to 2 games there, and then repeat that cycle, and then get one or two
like
throughout the year.
2 games every 8 months.
Yeah, that's what it would be. Like, that's what we would afford, and that's what we did. Like, that's how my video game life was, and I think that's the average mainstream consumer gets 1 to 2 games a year. So when you're competing against the big AAA games already, you're like, okay, take one of those games out, so maybe I can, or 2 of those games out. Say I can only get 2 VR games a year. And those 2 VR games, if I'm looking for something new, if obviously the big ones like Skyrim, they're going to sell. Farpoint's going to sell if you know about it. Like that kind of thing, they're going to sell. But what I have the issue with then is like, I've already spent my $60 budgets on those 2 games. I'm then going for the bargain basement thing. Remember bargain basement back in the day? Bargain bin to go pick up like cheaper experiences because that's what I can afford. How do I know the difference between a 10, and that, again, that's what the show is kind of for, but how do I know the difference between Dying Unborn, Reborn versus something else that's the same price point that is significantly better? Like, that's the issue I have, is the quality. And again, it kind of comes to price, but the quality versus price.
It's a little bit Wild Westy right now.
Yeah, and and I get it because it's early on, and I don't want to be like, don't make VR games, because you never know what's going to break through.
Yeah.
But I always make the joke, there's too many space games, there's too many of these. Like, it's...
A lot of those smaller experiences, though, like Neptune Flux. Like, that is a game that if you looked at it twice, you might think it was shovelware until you experienced it, and then you have that kind of thing. But with your comment on like buying a couple games a year or whatever it might be, I think we're at a point now where the bulk of gamers that are out there now, yes, there's a lot of kid gamers that buy games with their pocket money, and that's what you're kind of relating it to. Is like,
I'm thinking before you had a job, the non-adults, the 18 below.
But the larger market for especially something like VR right now is not that. It's like 25 to 45. So you have people that have somewhat of a disposable income. Yeah, they're working full time, so they may not have as much time to play games as they used to, like me. But they still have somewhat of a disposable income, and Sony does a really good job of sales and things like that, and wanting you to pick up games that maybe you wouldn't have considered picking up for full price. So I think that the majority of people are buying more games than that. I think the majority of people that are buying games, if they have any common sense, are doing at least a little bit of research into what they're buying before they pick it up. Like, there might be some people that take a look at something and go, oh, it's $3, whatever, I'll buy it. But there's trailers for 90% of the things in the PSN store, and some trailers can be misleading, but for the most part, you can watch a trailer and know if a game's going to be good or not.
One of the things I really like about this blog post of the 60 games is the games I'm going to look at are the ones that Sony has the images for. Like, that's these top ones. Like, this is Sony saying, hey, these are ones either we're marketing and or we're behind.
These are the big
and
guys.
then when you get to the list of just in a row, it's Anamorphine, Arc Park, Brain Voyagers, Chernobyl, Cool Paint VR, CubeWorks, Discovery, Dragon Ball Blast VR. Like,
worth pointing
how
out
many
that,
of those do you care about?
Fallout 4 VR is not on there. I think.
Yeah.
Man.
Like, how many of those do you think people really care about? With that's my point is, like, these ones, the good ones are in my opinion are solid. It's just that bottom part that just
touch and go.
There's no real rhyme or reason to what's good, what's bad, why I should pick something up versus something else. So, and I think that's also people explore, and I understand people don't know the platform yet.
So let's compare that to last year then. So that's been a complaint that you've had since the start. Do you think we're better now? Do you think we're in a stronger position? Do you think the fact that Sony is putting machines in stores, the fact they've given you a roadmap, the fact that they've reiterated the machine itself already, that they're obviously throwing support behind it, do you think that's at least an improvement over last year?
Yes. I'm in a better position with VR of them having the support, because remember last year my concern was that they're not advertising this. This is scary. Is this going to go the way of the Vita? Is this going to go the way of the PS TV? Like, what's happening here? At least now they're putting effort behind it. The downside to that is, are they putting effort in the right spot? It's like, I use the example of Microsoft's E3 press conference. The console launch exclusive of all these indie games. How many of those games do you really care about?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I come in with my argument here is, like, there's some games like Bravo Team I'm pumped about. There's the Impatient I'll never play, but I understand why that exists. It looks good. But how many of those other ones that they've now thrown out there, you're like, I don't care. And I'm more likely, again, the way I was raised is you get a few games, and granted with the show we pick up more, but the way I was raised, you get a few games a year, and I'm going to put those money towards games I know I'm going to like. And PSVR right now has not given me personally enough that is non-horror that I would say go in and get it. Like, there's not enough quote unquote Keegan games.
There's a lot of games that haven't cracked the code yet, though, too. Like, you have to think about, like, now we have at least an insight into the fact there's going to be more FPS games coming out that are, like, using the aim controller, that are online, that are what people want. So I think there's an interesting sort of side note to that they're still figuring out what VR is and what it's for and what it does.
And I get that.
And, like, they definitely have nailed down the Resident Evil vibe. They've nailed down, hopefully, the Skyrim thing. I mean, Skyrim basically is going to be, when it releases, proof in the pudding that you can make a fully fledged RPG in VR.
Hopefully.
From the ground up or not, it would take a lot of fucking time, a lot of effort, but it's doable.
I just think the 10 below range for VR right now either needs to go away or I mean, I don't want to tell people they can't make games, or it just needs to up its quality.
That's a quality control issue with Sony in general, though.
Because I think for me, when I'm looking at a VR game, and this is, I mean, granted, it all depends on how you price your game, but if it's $20 to $30, that's to me like the sweet spot for VR. Like, this is going to be a good experience. I have expectations set low. Obviously, the big ones you know about, like the Skyrims and all that, you'll know you're probably gonna be mind blown. Farpoint, but the $20 to $30 to me is a perfect one. And that, to me, it tells me two things, and I don't want to shit on developers, but I'm going to when I say the statement. That, to me, tells me you cared about your game, you put the effort in to learn about what you need to do properly, and make the proper mechanics. If you're selling your game for $3, that, to me, is just telling me you just want to throw it out to get money. That's how I
can make this in VR, so I did.
Yes, that's what it sounds like to me. And again, there's some games that break that mold and kind of again, as much as I did not like The Lost Bear for what it did in VR.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, there's that. To me, it was not a bad experience. It just was, why is this VR more than anything else?
Yeah.
Versus something like, I'm trying to think of, what was the one I played the other day? I was just like, this doesn't even need to exist. Like, as bad as that is to say, it's the truth. There's some games that I feel like, same thing with non-VR games, like Inner Kung Fu game. Like, why the fuck does that exist?
That's a great question.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Timeless question that will never be answered.
yeah, it's a whole gaming thing. It's not just VR specific, but I am super
It's magnified by VR.
Yeah, I'm super excited about VR. I love where we're at. I'm not quite as hyped because there's been nothing like you've had Resident Evil. I've not really had. Farpoint was exciting, but then the spiders happened. I was like, no, I've not had that game outside of like Star Trek. But even then, it's got a limited lifespan because you're repeating the same things over and over.
I think Skyrim will be that game for you.
I don't think so.
I do.
You know why I don't think so?
Why?
Because I tried playing Skyrim in non-VR and I couldn't get through it.
That's why I think it'll be your game, though, because I think that your main reason for not liking it in flat mode, if you will, is because there was no online social element to it. And even though there has not been an online social element added to it with the VR, you have that extra oomph to it, that extra reason to experience the journey. And I think that seeing a game of that size and scale and actually like coming across a giant or whatever it might be, or a frost troll or something, is going to be like a sort of a holy fuck,
I think the only game that is, I don't want to say only, but one of the games that has truly surprised me and it not only met my high expectations but exceeded it was Super Hot. Like, Super Hot was one of the, I want more Super Hots, not necessarily that game, but like things like that.
Perfect indie style game for VR.
Definitely they had VR in mind. They didn't just like, let's tack this on. They made a game that was made for VR, not making a game that then has VR elements. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Which is weird because they made it for both too.
Yes.
But yeah,
and it worked in both.
They thought about it really well.
Yes.
I think those are honestly a lot of the games that do best, are the ones that are not necessarily pure VR. Or
like,
pure
I
flat,
love Job Simulator.
Yeah.
Because that is a VR experience. That's not something I can play flat and have the same enjoyment. It's a stupid game, but at the same time, if I played that in non-VR, it's a dumb game at the same time. So
a lot of that has to be personal though as well, because like you said, like there are the experiences there. You're just unfortunate in the way that you won't enjoy playing them because of your own personal sets of like fears and whatever.
I really don't like.
Like you wanted to play Moss, but you won't play Moss because there's a snake in it,
and I have a phobia of snakes.
Right.
Like there's no. But
that's like
games.
not like that's.
No,
that's
Moss
a
looks good
personal
though.
thing,
But
though, right?
Moss is also one of those games that looks good. And I understand why it exists.
Right.
I'm not against something like Moss.
You just haven't had something that's kicked you in the ass.
I haven't had the Resident Evil 7 experience that you had of like, holy shit. Like, again, Farpoint I was blown away. No, I wouldn't. Farpoint I was so blown away by, and like there's been moments where like this looks cool, but there's been nothing, again, outside of like Star Trek, and even Werewolves a little bit did for a little while, but it's gone by the wayside. That has gripped me and said, hey, keep coming back to this. I played Star Trek for maybe a month, and then I've not played it since.
I think you should definitely try Megaton Rainfall, because I think that looks interesting, and that's only $16, and I think you should absolutely play the Invisible Hours, because I think you'd like that as well. Yeah. And Chernobyl was good, by the way.
Yeah, I got Apollo. I'm going to play that.
Oh, good.
Or watch that.
Yeah, that again, it's an educational thing as opposed to a game, but it's still enjoyable, and it's still like, that's another thing, like, this is why VR exists.
Yes.
Like, this, so I can actually experience being in this environment and feeling these things and whatever.
So to answer the actual question, my opinions on VR is I'm not as hyped as I was before, because I now have seen I've
jaded.
Yeah, and I also feel like I need to temper my expectations because I had such high expectations that now I'm like, you know what? This is what we're getting right now, and I guess I just have to deal with it, but I want more because I know the platform can be so much better. I really, really, really at this point think they need to drop a AAA Sony first-party exclusive experience that is 5 to 8 hours.
So you think Golem's going to be the one, maybe?
No, that's not Sony first party.
Is it not? I'm sure they put some money in this.
They did, but it's not. It's a second party.
Gotcha.
I'm talking like a AAA IP.
Gotcha.
So
like Uncharted
or God of War or Last of Us or something like that. Last of Us in VR, maybe I wouldn't, because I wouldn't play that because it'd be terrifying. But that's what I'm saying is like something like that of like the Halo mixed reality experience. People know the Halo brand. People know the Uncharted brand. People know the God of War brand, and now they know of what's the one that Gorilla just did? The
Farpoint?
No, Gorilla did with the girl and the robots.
Oh, Horizon?
Yeah, like Horizon VR experience.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's just exploring that map in VR. Like, again, I shit on things being added on, but if you're already buying that game, and I think VR needs a lot more of that. Of like, I've already buying this game. Give me VR elements to add on to it.
DLC.
Yeah,
Stuff.
but it's added in. It's free. It's not paid for.
Right.
But I would love, like with Tomb Raider, I'd love more of that, and that to me would sell units to people.
Yeah.
Because those are like I've already.
Well, I mean, GT did it.
Yeah, it's like I'm already buying this game. It has VR elements, and if I get enough games that are already VR, then I don't have to worry about buying games again, especially on a limited budget. So.
True that.
What about you?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of.
You're a hit fanboy still.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we've gone from strength to strength. There's definitely been some ups and downs along the way, but I think that, especially with the news of them pushing it so hard in the holidays, all these games that they have licensed to come out, the fact I don't know half of them, which makes me excited because I'm a sucker for trying.
And that's the part. That's my argument is I don't know half of them.
I like
clearly,
that, though. Like,
clearly they're not doing enough to let me know about them.
I'll go into the store, take one look at something, look at a trailer, and go, sure,
but
why not?
But you're not the mainstream. That's what I'm saying. Like mainstream consumer
That's
is not
true.
doing that.
I am.
That's I think that's their next hurdle they got to get the word out about these games.
I think a lot of that is just going to come from people trying it. I think, like I said, like as soon as my brother-in-law left here, he's like, hey, guess what I'm getting for Christmas? So it's one of those things where it has to be, it truly can't even be word of mouth. It has to be like word of like headset. It has to be put the fucking headset on, try it, and then see the best experiences that there are to offer, and know that developers are still just getting their heads around the idea of how to make these AAA ones. Like, obviously we have these indie ones to fill the gap. Hopefully they don't become too much shovelware, but I
want them to do the Switch strategy. Switch strategy right now, give me a AAA one, even if it's every other month.
Yeah.
Give me a big one that plants in and says, hey, you're going to be playing this for
a couple mini ones.
Yeah, and then give me good, solid mini ones.
I think we're doing okay with the mid-range stuff on VR, though,
I agree.
which I'm okay with.
I agree.
Because there's a lot of good.
Like I said, the $20 to $30, like, there's some really good stuff in there.
Even 15. I've since like Headmaster was only 15.
Yeah,
that was a solid experience. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm excited. I think everything is looking pretty good right now. Everything that I've read this week has made me happy, involving VR and PSVR in general. But yeah, I'm cool.
I'm now excited with the way Sony's handling it because I think there is a future for it, which is always better than not having one. So I think they're in a better position than they were last year.
Giving that information was the best thing they could have done at this time.
But I also think they just need to be careful not to go down a different rabbit hole of having too much stuff that people don't care about.
Right.
So then it's going to be there's too many games that I don't care about, and that'll be the mindset of people. They're like, oh, there's all this garbage. Like I'm saying right now that there's all this stuff. Like, give me something give me 17 games I care about versus 30 games I don't.
Gotcha.
So
all right, so that's our show. That's Codename Morpheus episode 12. Thank you so much if you managed to make it through the entire thing with us. We know some of you just like to tune in for certain sections, but we do appreciate you when you join us on our conversations. Speaking of which, what do you think has happened to PSVR in the last year? Are you happy with the updates that have been made? Are you excited about the future? Did you see this 60 game drop list? How did you feel about it? What things stick out to you? Is there things we should be looking out for?
Are you Team Tom or Team Keegan?
Are you Team Tom or Team Keegan as far as the future of or the current and future status of VR in general, or any piece of the news that we dropped in there? We'd love to hear any of your thoughts on any.
The big thing with the news is that for once you finally convinced me that the Move might be a thing.
Yeah.
Move 2.
We'll get there.
Now I just need to see it.
Speak to us. We love you. We want to hear from you, and we really like it when you converse with us about things that we say. That's how this kind of whole thing works. So drop a comment below and let us know how you felt about the show. In the meantime, we can look forward to Codename Morpheus episode 13, which will of course be next week, and hopefully we'll be lucky
it's
and not
31
unlucky
because it's backwards. Probably need to go that way.
Yeah. As we dig closer and closer to Halloween, and I try and convince Keegan to do something spoopy.
Nope.
So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and as always,
welcome to the second level.
Bye-bye.
No game, but they saying welcome to the second level.